G'day everyone, the Global Surveyor. Check this really nice garden here. Lovely gate, trees, lovely green lawn. Gee, that's lush. Last week and my last video, I was out measuring up and down cliffs and looking for survey marks. And today, and it was boiling hot. It was like 40 degrees almost. Today, different story. Cloudy, a bit of rain. And continuing on with the subdivision work, I'm measuring to a state survey mark. Just here, 46637 in a concrete driveway. I've got the Leica GS18 and I'll be recording that for a period of time so I can measure an MGA azimuth for my subdivision. And this particular mark is a little bit away from my subdivision, but you need to measure your you need to tie your subdivision into established survey marks, and this is just one of them here. It's a state survey mark, as I just showed you. A state survey mark here in a concrete driveway. Okay, so we have the Leica GS18 sitting there. I'm just inside my car at the moment. They've got the Leica CS20 controller, and as you might see here, we have 24 satellites. We have 9mm vertically to 4mm horizontally. They're the residuals there. 3D quality of about 9 mils and an antenna height of 2 meters, which is, you can just see, it's on a 2-meter pole with a bipod. And I'm going to let it sit here and take 180 readings. That's about 3 minutes worth of data. And I'm going to just do that a few times and then mean up all of the positions. Okay, so I've just recorded 3 sets of 180 observations on each each little session, and you can see the coordinates here are very good. 309, 307, 309, 915, 917, 911, 729, 728 and 719 for the height. But the easting and northing coordinates are the ones I'm primarily interested in, and yeah, they're very good. Okay, so the next survey mark I've got to measure is an SSM here. You can see I've painted it with a bit of yellow paint, and I had to dig for it. It's just see in there. It's in some rock. There's a bit of rock there too. It's not the most fantastic location, so I'm going to be observing this point for a lot longer than normal, and again mean up the results. So a good tip to keep consistency with your GPS observations is not only make the GPS observation now, but you should really go back in about 20 minutes time when the constellations, when the satellites have moved on and there's a new set of GPS satellites. And we can just see here, if we just click on, oops, we go into the sky plot here. So you can see a whole bunch of satellites up there at the moment. 27 I'm connected to. So it's good to come back. A lot of these satellites will move on. Some of them might stay, and some new ones will come back into the mix there. So it's always good, if you can, to go back about 20 minutes later after that observation, and by doing that, that actually ensures you're getting repeatability of measurements. Another, I'll just escape out of that, but another useful trick is to reinitialize
RTK initialization lock.
The GPS receiver,
RTK initialize.
And you can see it's already gone back to a fixed position very quickly. But by doing that, that's just another way of ensuring that there's no sort of issues with the measurements that you're making. Another very peaceful road. Nice day to be surveying. Yeah, lovely looking road there. And I've just got my Leica GS18 set up on a permanent survey mark. The last two marks were what were called state survey marks. This is a permanent survey mark, and it's in a metal box with a lid. And in this instance here, I don't know how well you can see, but it's a star picket with a punch mark. So that's the type of survey mark that we'll be measuring to. And the GPS is just up there, and you can probably see or hear it's starting to rain. Starting to rain here. Controller's getting wet. The GPS is weatherproof, so that's a good thing. But the how cool is it to sit here in the car with the controller, have the GPS up there, control everything, hop back in your car, out of the rain, and do it all from here. You can see we've got taken 50, 60 positions so far, 26 satellites, 2D accuracy of 5mm. Not bad. And I can't believe that exactly a week ago I was out here and it was about, well, it felt like 40 degrees. It might not have been quite 40 degrees, but gee, it was hot. Such a relief for it not to be so hot today. But this is sort of probably the cruisiest or the laziest or the most relaxing part of surveying, whereby you're just sitting here watching the GPS do all the hard work in the pouring rain. Up there somewhere. And I'm here in the dry. And I guess whilst we're sitting here in the wet, or in the dry actually, waiting for the GPS to complete its first round, it's almost at 180 readings, and I'm going to press stop here, and this will record it.
Point stored.
Point stored. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, The Global Surveyor, and we are on TikTok too. Really trying to grow the Global Surveyors channel on YouTube, so if you haven't subscribed already, your support would be greatly appreciated. And hoping to do a few more live streams this year. Please make sure you leave some comments, and if you have any survey related questions, feel free to ask. Well, the rain stopped, and here's another beauty here. A permanent survey mark in a piece of concrete with and a metal box, perched up on the edge of the road here. Again, quiet road. What a lovely place to work. Storm's coming again. A lot of these marks that I'm measuring to, I may not necessarily use as part of my subdivision, but better to be safe than sorry. Here's just another PM here, and I've just grabbed a stick so I can poke away here, and don't want to get bitten by any spiders. You can just see the makings. Get this soil out of the way. Now where you can see, hang on. There you go. Steel pin in box. Steel pin in concrete in metal box. So I'm going to give that a read. So some of these marks that I'm measuring to, as I said before, I may or may not use. Just want to be better to be safe than sorry and just pick up a few of these marks. I'm generally what you do is find survey marks that are coordinated, class C or better, and preferably class B, but class C or better, and using the coordinates that have been on public record for those marks, that sort of determines the azimuth and orientation of your survey. However, some of the marks that I measured way over there at the start of the video, the coordinates that are on public record aren't fantastic. In fact, they're not very good at all. So I'm not 100% sure why, but the marks could have moved. They could have just been poorly coordinated in the first place. So I've got to get to the bottom of that, and once I've figured out what marks I'm going to use, then I'll take the ones I want and leave the ones I don't. So now I've just set up a tripod. So we have a Seiko Trimax tripod, and we've got the Leica SNLL321. I think it might have a serial number. It does there. There you go, SNLL321. And we've also got the Leica circular prism, and you can see this is a laser plummet. There's some laser warnings there, not to stare at the laser. And if we go down here, you can see just in front of my finger the red laser. So it saves you having to use an optical plummet, and it's very, very accurate and very fast to set up that tripod. So now what we're going to do as part of the survey is we have to conduct a GNSS validation. So we need to not only measure 2 marks with the GPS, but if we're going to use the orientation of that GPS orientation, which might be derived using CoreNet, I need to validate the distance between the 2 marks using a total station, the traditional way of using surveying equipment. And that's what we're going to do now. And the storm's coming. So in a moment, I'm going to be setting my total station just sort of over the top of the car, almost just on the bend, so I can see that tripod that I just showed you. And I've got my other station here, and I've put it here because I want to be able to read right up the end of the road. Well, actually not quite up the end of the road, because I've got a few survey reference marks along the way that I'd need to locate. But the idea will be, yes, to read right to the very end of the road, which will be where my final place is that I'll be comparing a measurement made using the total station and the GPS. Well, you couldn't predict this, could you? Like last week, as I said, nearly 40 degrees, stinking hot. I could barely, I almost thought I wouldn't make it. It was that bad, you know. I was down in the scrub, and it's raining now, so I've just put on the Leica raincoat. I think there's a company in the UK that makes a groovy little raincoat attachment for the Leica, and I think it's useful for other total stations, and I'm thinking about getting one. If you happen to be watching and you're the you know anything about it, it's orange, and it's got like a little roof, and it's got a plastic screen here, so you can read the controller screen. It just enables you to work in all conditions, rain and sunlight too. I've got the tripod down there, and I'm going to use the Measure Foresight program to read some angles soon. Okay, so whilst it's raining, it's actually starting to, it's not bucketing, so I'm gonna give it a go. We're going to use a program called Measure Foresight. It's an app within an app within the Measure app here. So we'll select Measure to start with. I've already set the instrument up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading the angle from the station up the road here to the station there. It's just reading sets of angles, but it's all automated. So what we do is my next point, I'm going to change my target height to 0. Got to change the prism, because I've gone into measure and record, it's changed the prism on me. So we're going to change it to a Leica round prism. And under functions, tools, we've got this app here, Measure Foresight. I'll scroll down to it, press press go. And it's saying what type of behavior do you want for the operation. So we're going to go back-sight, foresight, foresight, back-sight. It's going to do automatic target aiming, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Using the current back-sight, which is the one up there as my reference point. Okay. Number of sets. Well, I'll just do 2. I think that will be well and truly good enough for what I'm trying to do. So now it's asking me to firstly sight the target that I want to read to. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I have the total station focused and aligned to the my station down there. I'm going to call it point number 8002. I'm going to press measure. Firstly, we're going to take it out of, you want to change the measuring to a single shot, not repeating. I'm going to hit measure.
Point stored.
And
Lock
it says,
the target.
now, it says to me, what would you like to do? Let's see if I can read that. What do you want to do? Do you want to add any more targets, or are you done? Well, in this instance, it's just the one. So we're going to hit done.
Target lock locked.
And you can see here now, the instrument's going to go and do the measuring all by itself. If the instrument decides that there's a vertical, as in here, vertical angular difference of 8 seconds, do I want to accept it? I can say yes or no. In this instance, I'm going to say yes.
Point stored.
Heights aren't overly important. We're just reading angles. So you can see now it's sighting up the back there.
Point stored.
It's reading another face.
Point stored. Point stored.
Turning again. Reading. Next face.
Point stored.
Storm's coming. Okay.
Point stored.
So you can see it doesn't take very long, and now the results are here. And so we've got the new point ID at 8002. I called that 8001, and this is 8000, and it has a whole bunch of the horizontal arc average and the vertical average and the distance average, number of sets, and I just click OK. That's stored point 8002 down the road, which is great. I think there might be an app called Sets of Angles or something like that, but this is just another app within the Leica Captivate, which I found, and it's the best thing ever. And now I can set up at 8002, side 8001, and off I go. But before I do any of that, and I appreciate everyone for watching, I've got this GI pipe in here, which I'm going to read right now. I'm glad the rain stopped. Sometimes when you're driving up and down the road, going between station and station down there, which is where I've got to go in a second, you forget, you drive past, because I've come up here to set this tripod up, so I've driven past that and forgot to pick up the prism. Well, thankfully I've got quite a few prisms. I keep a few extras in this yellow box here, and this is a different type of Leica spigot prism holder here. See, it's a bit of wear and tear there, but it's still the Leica circular prism, quite lightweight. It says something like T2, T, C1, T1, T16, they're just little settings there. But in order to set this up, see there's no optical plummet, so what I did was put my total station on top, leveled it all up, put a GI nail underneath, and then transferred the top. So still does the same trick and should be good to go. And from there I need to read, there's my boundary corner over in there, and I've got a drill hole and wing and a rock that I placed in the previous video, you might see there. So I'll give that a read and then up to the top of the hill. So when I first started out, before I bought the whiz bang Leica Tribrax and the laser plummets, I had optical plummets, and a mate of mine who used to work for Topcon in Sydney, Australia, he sold me some Topcon Tribrax. And the good things about these ones is it does have an optical plummet, which you've got to keep in adjustment, but it also has this window here which basically allows you to set your laser or your total station on top with a laser plummet, and that laser beam will shine through that hole, and you're able to then use the laser, whereas some of the old ones didn't actually have that functionality. You had to use the optical plummet to set up the Tribrax. So yeah, I've got some other Leica Prisms here. You can see they're quite shiny. Sometimes they don't even get any use. And I've also got some sighting targets here, which are great on stinking hot days. Help you find the center of the target. All protected in a little case like so. It just sits in the back of the car and just gets used occasionally. Okay, you can see I've got my mini prism here, Leica mini prism. It's 50 mils long there, another 50 there, makes a total of 100 mils if you need to put in a height. It's got a groovy little silver and red pole, and you can attach that pole up, and there's quite a few lengths that you can add to it if you want. And I'm going to read this drill hole and wing that I've placed here, and you can see that the hole's just deep enough to level this thing up manually, but I think I'll hold it. I'm going to hold it just like that. There you go. It's pretty good. That's going to read over to the total station, and that will be a drill hole and wing and rock. It's a reference to a corner I've got over there. Okay, I'm almost at the other end of the line here. It's just a line I need to verify by measuring with the GPS and total station. In this instance, I'm not going to put a tripod on this last mark. I was just a bit awkward carrying all this. See here, going through the bush, I've had to cut, it's quite exhausting, and having to cut a line through the bush. I've got an accurate Leica prism pole with an accurate bubble, well, an 8-minute bubble. Some of the prism poles don't actually have that, but as you can see here, I don't actually want to even try and go too close, but down there was where there's a boundary corner right off the edge of these rocks here. So I've got a drill hole and wing which is facing towards the corner, which means that the next surveyor won't necessarily have to go down there for the purpose of doing something minor on the site. If there was a subdivision or something happening here, or a new road, there won't be any new roads, but there is a road here, Crown Road, well then it's quite possible that the surveyor would have to go down there, but for any other minor purposes on the property coming here. But I'm going to measure back up there. What I'm going to do is I've cleared a line. There's a gap up in there, so I'm going to give it a measure now. Okay everyone, well, we're at the tail end of today's survey. You can see I've just set the, it's coming through here, the bush. I've set the GPS back up on this drill hole and wing that I measured with the total station. We'll see it in a sec. To get down here, there it is over there. Got to be careful walking around here, like I said before, with the cliffs. But look, thanks so much for watching everyone. Thank you for liking my channel, subscribing. There's plenty of survey videos there, so make sure you check out some of the older ones and some of the better ones. Probably the newer ones, they're getting better and better and better. Well, I'd like to think so. Let me know what you think. If there's something you don't like, or something you'd like to change, or something you'd like to see, just let me know. I might just sit here on this, on these chairs here and just soak in the view overlooking the cliff. We're done 350 readings here. I might just store that.
Point stored.
Point stored. It's a Friday. It's the end of the day. It's great. Thanks again everyone, and stay tuned for the next video. See you later.